welcome to the Remnant Alliance Latino podcast. My name is Pastor Luis Cabrera. We are excited to launch this new podcast for all our viewers and audience all around the whole nation. And we're going to talk about so many things that a lot of churches and people and community leaders aren't talking about. And this morning, I have an esteemed guest, Honorable Luis Quinonez, and he's going to share his story. And we're going to talk about the American dream or the American nightmare, because you're going to hear two people that came to this country from other countries to live the American dream. So, Honorable Luis Quinonez, and I want you to kind of share with me. So, what brought you? What country are you from, Luis, and why did you come to this country?
Well, I'm from Guatemala originally, and I came here because of the abuses that we saw in the government, dictators taking over, and opportunities were given to those who were loyal to the regime, not necessarily because what your talents and what you knew, it was who you knew, in that particular case. There were no respect anymore for freedom. There's no respect for our ability to believe in what we wanted. The churches were under attack. And I'd say, this is not me. My mom took a chance. She came to the States. She said, why don't you come and join me? And I did. I left everything. It was very painful. I was a 17-year-old kid, and I had to decide to abandon what I knew to come for the unknown. And at that age, you don't know what's awaiting you,
No, you don't.
But I knew there was a dream. Everyone that I knew spoke about the American dream, and I wanted to be part of the American dream. So that's why I came, and it's a decision that I never regretted, by the way.
I was 2 years old when I came to this country in 1979. My father, he was under President Somoza in Nicaragua. And so when the Sandinistas, when they rose up against the administration, I mean, they wanted to kill my father, everybody associated with Somoza. Mm-hmm. And so, my father he went to the American embassy there in Nicaragua and got some visas, and we came to America. And so, yes, I mean, I don't really remember much because I was a little boy, but when my parents speak to me about the struggles, coming to a new country, you don't know the language, you don't know, you don't have a job. So you can just imagine, but you understand that America is the land of opportunity, right?
Indeed.
And it's like, great, so now we got a new chapter, a new country, what do we do? And so we can relate a lot because from Guatemala, from Nicaragua, they're both Central American countries, but we came to this nation to find, and succeed and just a different country. And so growing up in America, how was that for you?
One of the things I found out back in 1969 is that the hippie era had started to transform America, unfortunately, where the drugs were more important than God. Yeah. And people didn't believe in the kind of things that I had always believed in. We went to church every weekend when I was a kid. And to me, to see the changes here in the United States, I was like, why are we going the opposite direction? Why the American dream to me is not necessarily money.
Yeah.
Everybody equates, I'm going to have money, that's American dream.
Where you become rich.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's part of the equation, it's fine.
Yes.
But I think it's also having the ability to explore the opportunities to be all you can be, to reach your maximum. So when I came, I saw some of the problems. I saw that the segregation up to a point where Latinos intentionally stay away from the American culture, and they wanted to change the American culture to accommodate us rather than us accommodating the American culture. We are here, so this is our country. Why do you want to change it? You want to stay part of it. So I said, no, I'm not going to do that. What I did is, I went and enlisted in the Marine Corps, of all things, without speaking English. And somehow I managed to pass the test. And the next thing I know, I'm going to Parris Island, one of the infamous training facilities for the Marine Corps. And I was always step behind because I had to watch whatever the guy in front of me did. If he turned, then I turned. I was always lagging trying to do because I didn't understand. So finally, the instructors realized what was going on, and they said, you have the opportunity to get out if you want. This is not bad for you. It's not your fault. Somehow you made it, but academically, obviously, I was able to pass the test, but language-wise was a problem. But there was a commander who said, "Do you want to keep fighting?" I said, "Yes. If I give up now, then the next time is going to be easy, and then the next time is going to be easier until I won't even try it anymore." So they assigned me to another platoon where a fellow whose father was from Nicaragua.
Really?
And his mom was American.
Okay.
So they gave us permission to speak, not, because you can't have conversations when you're in training, but, if I had a question, I'd say, "Hey, how do you say this?" I would do. The commander gave me a English-Spanish dictionary, so, I'm fighting, reading, okay, this means this, and I would say, "Hey, how do you say that?" Okay, so by the time I got out of boot training, I was able to understand most of it, but most of the language I couldn't repeat in social circles because instructors use a lot of profanity,
of course.
to say the least. So I couldn't use it in normal terms, but I saw then the variety that in the military is a microcosm of the society, and I could see so many things that were great. So many folks that were in the opposite levels completely, and it was an eye-opener, to say the least. So I started to accommodate, started studying. I, got an opportunity, and something that I always been so faithful to this country and thankful is that they gave me opportunities no one else in any other country would give you.
Yeah.
I was given an opportunity to finish my education. I did. I was commissioned an officer. I always wanted to be a pilot. I learned how to fly. They sent me to flight training, and they paid me for it.
Wow.
I would have done it for free, but I never told them that. So I got the opportunity to go fly in jets. I became a F-18 pilot. And I kept saying, why do people want to change the United States? We're doing fine. We don't need to amend things or fundamentally transform. And we knew there were things, I knew that there were homosexuals back then, but they kept them to themselves. They didn't want to push it in your face.
Yeah.
Pride Month, no. They kept their life, we kept our life, and everybody was respecting, no problem. And, I went through, in fact, I was asked to, it was at the Pentagon when they asked me to serve a special mission, which was to help the form what they call the Contras, as you know, in Nicaragua.
Yes.
So I was one of those that worked with the rich families to form this group. We trained them. There was 5 of us who spoke the language natively, and our appearance could make us be part of the equation there. So we went through the whole process of bringing down the Sandinistas. Unfortunately, I ended up having an accident, and I had to decide if I wanted to stay and be restricted or get out.
Yeah.
And I started my own business. I started with $54 in the basement of my house. 3 years later, I had 2,000 employees.
Wow.
And I had revenues exceeding $260 million. So
wow.
I was thinking, what country allows this to happen? Where and in what nation? God,
Wow.
this is the land of opportunity. This is the American dream.
Huge.
Because you challenge yourself and you can prove with the help of God, you can get there.
Yes.
And I was thinking, what's wrong with these people that are running to drugs instead of running to God and thank them, I couldn't understand it, frankly, and I saw some of the things that happened. I went from, like I said, when I came to this country, I had $5 in my pocket.
Wow.
And not an idea what was gonna happen. Here in 1993, I was the 6th largest Hispanic-owned company in the United States in the healthcare industry. And we won a contract with Humana for $3.8 billion. So, I believe in the American dream,
Yes.
but I also believe that you have to trust and believe in God
Amen.
to guide you. If you don't do that, if you're going into business or any opportunity to get rich, you just fail right there.
Yeah.
I asked God, I said, guys, I'm not asking you something. Just give me life to work as hard as I can, and every success is yours because you are making it happen. I'm not asking you for anything. I'm offering you every minute of my life to be a better Christian, and that's how I live my life.
You know, as Latinos, we've been looking for national heroes. I did a question on my social media about, who can we put as a national hero as an Hispanic or Latino, right? And of course, a lot of them put movie stars, some people put Jennifer Lopez, Mark Anthony, but those are like entertainment people. I was talking about national heroes that have done great things for this country, like a veteran like herself. But you know what? But all the answers, because I know, like here in this country, they have, like George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, all these national heroes. And I remember the first time that I met you, I was like, wow, like when Steve Maxwell introduced me to you, I was like, what? He actually worked under the Trump administration? So that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how you were literally, from where you came from Guatemala, to where God placed you and put you under that administration. I think, just looking at all that, I'm like, wow, like that's awesome, because you don't hear a Latino coming from a whole different country and then being in that position. So so you have a very successful business, and so you're growing, you're not only a veteran, so then how'd you get involved in politics?
One of the things I did is I started to get involved in social activities. I saw the need, and I created something called the Joy of Sports.
Okay.
Every summer, instead of having kids watch TV or being exposed to negative influences, role models, I've worked out a deal with the schools where especially trained teachers came and trained these kids without knowing that they were learning. We managed to teach them how to play, let's say, tennis.
Yeah.
But they would do, okay, if you want to win by 6 points, but they beat you last time by 4, how many points you need to score now? And the kids, it was amazing. All of a sudden, when they returned to school, they were doing much better, and the teacher really liked it. Then we saw the need that, unfortunately, many Latinos didn't have the resources to go to college. So 3 of us were having dinner, and we said, why don't we start a college fund to help out? And overnight, we decided, let's get it together. We did. And 9 months later, we awarded the first scholarships, 8 of them. And, one of the things, the commitment we made, because my business was successful, I wanted to pay something back.
Yeah.
And we pay 100% of the operating expenses, everything. We were committed to do 100% of the money we raised went straight to scholarships,
Wow.
which made us unique. So all of a sudden, we got all these people coming in and donating, and we had a $3 million in less than a year for scholarships. We continued to get more money. To date, this organization continued the Hispanic College Fund, and it has helped over 40,000 youngsters to
Really?
reach their dream
40,000?
of going to school. 40,000.
Wow.
So I am very happy, to say the least, because I saw some of the changes in politics and where the other party was really going the extreme left. I decided to start donating money to the parties, and I was one of the few Hispanic conservatives. So
I
they
can
were saying,
imagine.
whoa, you're very rare. You know?
Yes.
So they really liked me. They invited me to all the events. Then somehow I got dragged into doing media. And when Trump decided to announce his candidacy, we had a mutual friend, Kimberly Guilfoyle, who used to be at Fox at that point. She said, hey, listen, we want you. Okay. So I got dragged into the politics, and I became the voice for former President Trump, who's now running again.
Correct.
And, I did 154 interviews in the first year alone. Of course, because of my troubles, they threatened me. They called me names. They called bomb threats to the facilities. I'm going to kill your family. It's just crazy world, to say the least. But I did worked out, and when I remember we were driving to dinner after the elections, and I got a phone call, and I knew the number, so it was President Trump. At that point, he was President-elect Trump.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, "You mind?" She said, "No, no, no." And we had some guests.
Yeah.
So I started talking to him, and he said, "Listen, I want you to become my Secretary of Veterans Affairs." And I'm sitting there like, "Are you serious?"
Like,
You know?
is this real?
I mean, I said, "Hey, listen, I'm just a kid, you know, from Guatemala."
What an honor.
And
Wow.
I said, you know, but it shows you the greatness of this country.
Yeah.
And, you know, and a lot of people don't know that, but Trump is a very religious man.
Yeah.
You know, he believes in God. He never had a drink because he's afraid his brother died from alcohol poisoning.
I've heard that testimony that he's not even his kids don't drink or smoke.
No,
right?
no.
Wow.
And I have a very good relationship with his oldest son, Donald Jr. So, you know, I was surprised. Unfortunately, I was diagnosed with cancer at the time that I was going through this nomination process.
Wow.
And I said, listen, you know, I need to take care of myself first.
Yeah.
For my family. He says, I understand, but I want you to stay as my advisor in the White House, and you be the liaison between the Veterans Administration and the White House. I said, I'll be glad to. And I took advantage of that to build up the momentum to pass a new regulation called the Veterans Treatment Court.
Wow.
The Veterans Treatment Court, it's earmarked to help veterans who start committing mistakes. You know, they start drinking or
Yeah.
using drugs, they get arrested, they get into a spiral, and it's very dangerous because a lot of them end up going to jail.
Yeah.
Every year, 700,000 veterans face incarceration, and there is no need for that. So this law that I
Wow.
pushed and I promoted, and I talked to the president, I gave a briefing at the White House. I went to talk to every member of Congress, and I said, we have to have this law, and explain why. The law passed 100% of the vote, by the way. Even the ones that were saying no, they saw the usefulness. And it has helped because it costs an average of $40,000 to keep someone in jail. But if we send them back to the community, they become brothers and sisters, and you know they're again normal
Yes.
taxpayers. So instead of costing us, they're contributing. But one of the things that interested me and really fascinated me was that when we started to talk to some of the graduates, I said, what happened? I mean, you were a military first sergeant, an accomplished warrior, a man of success. What happened? He says, you know, I finally discovered that I lost touch with God. I fell the day that I walked away from God, and I hit bottom, and I noticed that once I started cleaning myself, I regained my contact with God, and now I am here because I found him again. I mean, it may sound cheesy
Wow.
to some people,
Yeah.
but I would dare anyone out there who's a doubtful, go talk to these people, and they're gonna tell you
right.
exactly that. I found God, and now I'm a better Christian. So I asked the courts, the judges, you know, because this is not a special court. It's basically judges who volunteer to have a special docket. One day, they bring in these veterans. And initially, there was reluctance, but the judges found out that having a spiritual leader within this
Yeah.
advisory groups
Uh-huh.
helped them. So now the courts have a spiritual guide, if you will, to help them out to navigate their way back to God. And one of the things that fascinates me is that we have a 99% success rate. Recidivism.
99%.
99%. No other program has even close to it. And more importantly is that recidivism, you know, the people that fall down again and engage in bad, zero. Those who graduate don't go back and commit the same mistakes. So and the reason why again is because they believed in God again. Very simple. I'm like,
We make it so complicated. You know, you put God first, you put God inside your life, inside your heart. I mean, he changes your life. He transforms your life. And you'd be surprised. But you know what, but just hearing your story, Luis, it's just amazing because, you know, people, that's why I started this program, with the title Honorable Luis Quinonez, because you were still. Then they gave you a actual. You were confirmed, right?
Yeah, I was nominated by the president and as a commissioner, and as part, I had to go through the Senate confirmation.
Yes.
Plus, and once you are confirmed by the Senate, then they give you the title, the honorable. So
Yes.
before, But I also, after I got well enough, and he asked me again to serve as his Secretary of Homeland Security. And this time I was ready, and I said, yes, I'm going to go for it. So I started my process. I went to speak to all of the senators because you had to be confirmed by them.
Correct.
You had to convince them that you are the best candidate for secretary. So I spoke to every member of the Senate. There were some of them. I had 86, by the way, out of the 100 senators. 86 says, you got my vote. There were some that said, listen, it's not personal.
Yeah.
I will vote against anyone who works for Trump, even if it was an angel. I just don't want to support that man. Okay, fine, I understand that.
Yeah.
And there were other people that, again, they say that we should do away with the entire Homeland Security Department. And there were two of those, actually. And they said, no, I won't vote. I'll just vote absent. So I would have had the equivalent of 88 votes, which, it would have been very unusual, and most of his people got confirmed with 1 or 2 votes, to say the least. So, it was interesting, and then I started getting back into the debates. People started, the media started calling me back and saying, we need you to serve, we need you to do more. And I thought that we got a problem because we're not educating the communities.
Correct.
We got a real serious issue, and you and I started last week a new radio program.
Correct.
To reach out
Yes.
to the people, and hopefully now with the advent of iHeartRadio
Correct.
And other things, we are going to be reaching millions.
Yep.
Of
And that's what we're doing
Christians.
this podcast too. We want this podcast to hit the whole nation, because there's I love what Steve, Steve calls us a big market. We're just a huge market, and we're Americans too.
Yes.
I mean, we're are living the American dream. And so, but just seeing your story, Luis, is seeing, how God has brought you from a Central American country that is literally full of poverty, to come to this country. I mean, and for God to place you literally in the White House with former President Trump. I mean, that's amazing.
And I'm still working
Wow.
there now, I mean, for a kid who grew up with one pair of pants and had shoes
Wow.
with holes in it because I couldn't afford, my family couldn't
Yeah.
afford anything else. I remember a couple of nights when we went without dinner because we didn't have anything to eat, to a point where I can raise, donate millions of dollars to causes, help people. I transported many people who died, who they couldn't send the body back home. I have my own jet, by the way, so I actually flew these bodies back to the
Wow.
front. So this is one of the greatness of this nation. How could a kid who barely had enough to eat, only one pair of pants in his life, now can afford to have tailor-made suits, only in the United States? So don't tell me that we needed a fundamental transformation.
No.
Because all that meant was that 3% of the population had dominated 97%.
Yeah.
And all these ideals that we are seeing, unfortunately, we are in June, and they call it the Pride Month. Pride of what?
Yes.
Come on, people.
Yeah,
We are
that's
allowing
right.
3% of the population to dominate the 97%. That's just, incredible. That's dictatorships.
Yeah, but this where the church also has failed.
Yes.
Because of our silence, and not have the boldness to speak truth. I mean, you know what? We got to speak truth everywhere we go, because God's gonna hold us accountable, all of us, and the Word of God says that the truth shall set you free, and that's what's happening. Like right now, the church and people here in this country, we're so afraid to speak the truth. We're so afraid to offend people. We're afraid to just share anything, and because I might be a bigot or a racist. And I mean, how many names have they called you? I can just imagine, right?
Every day I get, like I said, I got to the point where, when I was a commissioner at the White House, sometimes they put a Secret Service to
Uh-huh.
take me from one place to another because the hate of these people was so great. But,
But as a Hispanic, as a Latino, I mean, what names? I mean, please tell me they didn't call you Uncle Tom.
well, basically,
Wow.
I had a known personality in Univision called me a traitor to the race, and I said, "What race are you talking about? I'm an American to begin with.
Wow.
So what race are we talking about? And I said, one thing that I know is I'm not betraying my country because I served this country, and I
That's
got
right.
shot, by the way, in the leg in Vietnam, and they didn't serve at all. They only want to transform, destroy the United States. They want to take, like I said, take God and substitute it for drugs. That's what they're doing, not the belief of making us better, more unity for the families. We don't have a family nucleus anymore.
Nope.
We don't have a family unity.
Nope.
That's what's really.
Now we have two moms, two fathers. Now we have absent fathers, absent moms, single parent homes, broken homes, and you see it. I was a youth pastor for a long time, and I saw it down there where I'm from, South Texas, and probably out of the 50, 60 youth that I used to pastor, 50 of them came from broken homes.
Yes. And it's sad, that our mayor here in Lake Wales decided not to honor Pride Month. He decided to name it Parenthood because
Glory
he's
to
saying
God.
we need to create better parents. That's the problem we got. If we have better parents, we will have better youth, and the country will be much, much better.
Yes.
Well, how could it be that some parents are filing a lawsuit against the governor of Florida because they said, oh, you're not letting the teachers educate them on the homosexuality, LGTB greatness. Greatness? Come on, so they're basically going against us. And these are parents who are defending, and they claim that this is their constitutional right.
Yeah.
Well, what about the constitutional right of the 97% that opposes that ideals,
Yeah.
That's one of the problems that, if we don't stop this nonsense, Sodom and Gomorrah is now a kindergarten because what we're doing
Compared to what we're seeing
ourselves.
nowadays.
Wow.
Yes. And that's why, you know what, in part 2 of this podcast, I want to talk more about that, about the, now that we talked about the American dream, you are a product of the American dream, and so am I. God has brought me from Nicaragua, raised here now in the States, American citizen. I love this country with all my heart. My father raised me right. I became a pastor. I founded a church, and now I'm the national director of this Remnant Alliance for the Latino initiative that we're doing. But it's just an honor just to serve God and see how God can take you from nowhere to somewhere. Kind of like Joseph. He went from I always call it from the state pen to the palace.
Yeah.
And but that's what God does. When you literally say, okay, Lord, you know what? I love you. I want to live for you. Help me just be your voice. Help me be a beacon of light. And that's what we need in this country right now, because there's a lot of people that just, they're kind of like living hopelessly.
Yes.
And they can see our stories, and see your story and be like, wow, like, what's my excuse?
Well, they need to remember one thing. Do we want to live the American dream, or do we want to live an American nightmare?
That's right.
And their vote and their decisions are going to decide, is it a nightmare or is it a dream? Because if we vote the wrong way,
That's right.
it will be a nightmare. It's already a nightmare. It's
Yeah.
going to get much worse. So, let's keep the American dream alive, and, let's respect the values that made this, the principles that made this
Yes.
country great. And those are Christian values, let's face it.
Yes, this nation was founded on the Bible and through the Bible, and our forefathers were God-fearing men, and we can't forget that. And so, from a younger Hispanic person, Luis, I just wanted to tell you that I look at you as a national hero, as my national hero, because it's like you don't see that, because I've been looking everywhere for that Latino that came from literally from poverty to see what you've done, like, that business, you worked for the White House, and you're still working with former President Trump and his administration. All these things, I look at them like, wow, because like I said, you know, as Latinos, we don't really have that national hero. Yes, we have entertainers, you know, that we can say, yeah, you know, those are, you know, but I'm talking about a hero, somebody that's, you can tell that, okay, God literally was, I mean, used you in a mighty and powerful way and put you there in that position. And so it's such a great honor to have you on this podcast.
Thank you. And
And-
by the way, before
Yeah.
something you're saying about entertainers, you know, how easy it is. I am a executive producer of a movie. And I'll
Oh,
show you
really?
the credits. It's based on the Irish famine, and it's going to be released to theaters in August.
Wow.
So to be part of the movie and this fame, it doesn't require much, believe me.
No, it doesn't.
We don't need those heroes. We need people that work hard from the
Yes.
ground up to show that they're something.
And not only that, but as a man of God, you know, that right there, it goes a long way because, you know, just to be that hero, but also to have God inside of your heart, you're a family man. I mean, just everything that God has done in your life, Luis, it's such a great honor just to meet you. I'm glad that Maxwell introduced me to you because, you know, me and Maxwell, we're talking about, like, you know what, like, who's your national hero? And literally, I was like, I don't know. I really don't know. You know,
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, because I can name a bunch of, you know, other people, but I'm talking about a Latino national hero. And, you know, it really, like, I went home that day and I was like, Lord, who? And so I thank you for fighting for us, for fighting for our people, and just to show our people too that you can accomplish great things if you just put your mind to it and say, Lord, help me get there, help me fight hard, help me work hard, help me just put you first and watch. And I mean, you're a living testimony of that. So I'm grateful. The Honorable Luis Cabrera, that's me,
That's
but
you.
the Honorable Luis Quinonez is
Been a
so
real pleasure.
awesome just to be here with you, and you know, it's just amazing.
Always a pleasure.
It's always amazing. So, Remnant Alliance Latino podcast, please. You know what? This is off to a great start. We're gonna have part 2 of the American Dream / American Nightmare. We're gonna talk about the nightmare, and so I want to welcome this awesome and esteemed guest. And please follow us. Follow us on our channel. Subscribe to our channel, and just stay tuned. We're gonna have some great guests, great pastors and community leaders that are gonna just speak on a lot of issues that we're not speaking about. So God bless you, and I'll see you soon.